Hi, we're ocean cleaners. We are from SMK Zarina. Our theme is AI for Earth. Our idea is we want to create an AI that can detect oil spills and clean it by absorbing the oil. Oil spill has been a problem throughout the year and has occurred even way back from the 1889, and undoubtedly it has affected every living thing on Earth negatively. There has been a lot of difficulty in cleaning up these oil spills, and one of the reasons are concerning the tides, winds, and ocean currents that cause the oil spill to spread. Not to mention, these forces are relentless, which leads to a lot of work and research that have been done, and not to mention solutions developed by researchers to tackle oil spills. Therefore, our group decided to come up with an AI that could detect oil spills and clean it by absorbing the oil.
So, onto the problem. First and foremost, what is oil spill? Oil spill is the release of liquid petroleum hydrocarbons into the environment due to human activities. When crude oil is spilled on the sea, an oil slick is formed. That is, a thin oily layer floating on the sea surface. As shown on the picture, it may display a rainbow-like appearance, have a metallic look, or appear as a dark brown or black slick on the water surface depending on its thickness. Spills can also be caused by a multitude of reasons such as release of oil by tankers, drilling rigs and offshore platforms. It can also maybe be due to the spillage of refined petroleum products or byproducts. It can also be due to heavier fuels from large ships or maybe failures in pipelines and oil rigs. This could lead to various negative effects from different aspects. So, from the environmental aspect, immense damage could happen to fishes and other aquatic animals. Mammals could also be affected by this. By an example, oil spills could penetrate into the structure of the plumage of birds and fur of mammals, damaging the insulating functions of feathery or hairy coats and thus rendering them vulnerable to temperature fluctuation, which then leads to quick death. So, from the community aspect, oil spill could damage human organs and organ systems by contaminated water from the oil spill. And this could also reduce clean water sources. So, from the economic aspects, um, the suspension of commercial fishing will happen, which will affect fishermen greatly, and contamination of coastal areas with high amenity value and high costs incurred by cleanup activities could also happen, which can affect the economic greatly. So, moving on to the research, there are a lot of incidents regarding oil spill, and one of them is one of the arguably most largest oil spill that happened in the world is the 1991 Gulf War Persian Gulf oil spill. In January 1991, Iraqi forces allegedly began dumping oil into the Persian Gulf to stop a US coalition-led water landing on their shores. This was considered an act of environmental terrorism, and the spill was a heated political move that had implications for the larger Gulf War and temporarily damaged Kuwait and Saudi Arabia. Sullying of the Persian Gulf to oil-based goods is the principle of danger to this marine condition, and this contamination can effectively affect this differing marine condition. Another oil spill incident that happened in Malaysia that was reported by the New Straits Times and other news outlets was fishermen say Tanjung Balak oil spill is the worst they have faced. Some 50 fishermen in Tanjung Balau and Tanjung Rompat turned to the government to seek assistance with their livelihood threatened by the oil spill. The substance, which was the oil spill, was also visible on the beach, which then poses a threat to the marine ecosystem and tourism activities in the area. Rehabilitation efforts would take at least 6 months before the 10-kilometer spill could be cleared. affecting the livelihood of the fishermen and residents there. So from this research, we could confidently conclude that oil spill could also be an act of terrorism or an act of starting a war. But ultimately, in the end, oil spillage happens because of humans doing. And also we can see from this research that oil spillage can affect a country greatly because of the long period of recovery and also the expensive cost of oil cleanup that has to be paid by the government.
So now, let's move on with our AI concept. The first one is make a specific classification of instructional program that known as chip and insert the global positioning system that is also known as GPS in the prototype 429. The chip is used to differentiate between marine life or other substances and can also detect oil spills in the ocean. Moreover, the chip has been installed GPS to detect the presence of the prototype 429. The second one is prototype 429 eco-friendly because it uses solar energy as it is the main source of energy. Since prototype 429 only swims at the surface of the water, it will absorb solar energy at once. The third one is prototype 429 will float at the surface of water and go to places where oil spillage occurred. A substance will flow out of its tentacles called iPetrogel. It will capture the petrogel oil compound with its mouth and enter its body.
So moving on to number 4, this was taken from an excerpt of an article that introduced iPetrogel to the public. If the recovered oil can't be reused, it needs to be dumped somewhere. It's useless, said TC Mike Chung, professor of material science and engineering. That's why we developed a technology that is comprehensive. iPetrogel is a polymer made from oil. It's a pure hydrocarbon. The researchers created iPetrogel by mixing two polyolefin polymers in the laboratory and then scaled up the product for use in large-scale field tests. Because the product is an oil-based polymer, it is strongly bonded to oil and also does not need to be removed before refining. Moving on to number 5, in the prototype 429 body, the petrogel oil will pass through and the mouth will be shut to make sure no petrogel oil mixture escapes. The gel-like substance will pass through another layer where it will be filtered like a strainer, separating the gel-like substance from the water. Moving on to number 6, moving to another sector, the petrogel oil mixture will be directed to the left tank. The oil can be reusable and will then be sent back to the main base at the shoreline.
The recovered oil is stored in a separate chamber for future disposal at main base. Prototype 429 will swim back to the main base to dispose of the reusable oil from tank to tank and upgrade the system of the CIP. The upgrades include the updates regarding current oil spillage events and informations. It also has a progress system program so Prototype 429 could scout certain areas by the day, and when it is completed, another area will be tasked to be scouted for oil spillage. How AI is implemented into the home-based system, which could involve natural language processing algorithms to parse and understand textual data from news sources, government reports, and other relevant sources. Prototype 429 will be reused again and it will find its new place to maintain their function. As we can see on this slide, we have a sketching for our Prototype 429. On the upper left of the sketching, we have a small ribbon. The small ribbon contains CIP that contains information about oil spills and GPS so that Prototype 429 doesn't get lost or go off radar. Next, the small ribbon is covered by solar panel as Prototype 429 uses solar energy as its main source of energy. The oil will enter through the mouth And as you can see, we have two eyes. The eyes act as a camera to detect marine life and oil. We have two different kinds of tanks, right and left. The right one is to store iPetrogel, meanwhile the left one is to store oil. Our prototype 429 has many legs so it can swim. Meanwhile the tentacles is to deploy iPetrogel. Our prototype 429 has three main characteristics, which is lightweight, water resistant, and has a night vision. It is lightweight, so our prototype 429 can float in the water so it doesn't go too deep into the ocean and doesn't get lost. It also has night vision so that it can work throughout day and night without stopping.
So now, let's move forward with our use of artificial intelligence. First, Azure Learning Machine and Storage. AI can be trained to be in autopilot mode. AI also can send the data collected straightforward to database without being hacked. Second, computer vision. AI can make observation towards how the marine life behaviors and adapt to it. AI also can identify any unusual water activity. Third, AI chatbot. The data collected will be kept inside the AI chatbot. All the data can be accessed by researchers and other marine enthusiasts. So now, I will explain to you the impact of Prototype 429. First, preservation of marine biodiversity. Prototype 429 can safeguard the delicate balance of ocean ecosystems. It can also ensure their resilience in the face of climate change and other threats. Second, protection of coastal communities. Prototype 429 can foster sustainable development and ensure the livelihood of millions who depend on the ocean for their way of life. Also, tourism, a significant source of revenue for many coastal regions, thrive as pristine beaches and clear waters attract visitors from around the world. So, the health and well-being of coastal residents improve as they no longer suffer from exposure to toxic chemicals associated with oil spills. Third, preservation of ecosystem services. Prototype 429 can safeguard the stability of global climate patterns and mitigating the impacts of climate change. Last but not least, promotion of sustainable practices. Prototype 429 can transitioning away from fossil fuels towards renewable energy sources reduces the need for offshore drilling and eliminates the risk of catastrophic oil spills. It can also investing in technologies for spill prevention and response, as well as stringent regulations and enforcement, further mitigates the likelihood of accidents. Prototype 429 can fostering a culture of environmental stewardship and accountability instills a sense of responsibility towards protecting the oceans for future generations.
Next is ethics. We have 6 compartments under ethics, which is fairness, reliability and safety, security, inclusiveness, transparency, and accountability. It is fair because the AI can give benefits to not just marine life, but also to all the marine enthusiasts and also maritime workers. For reliability and safety, the AI is safe and reliable to be used with artificial intelligence system. The AI is also made to endure any obstacles such as intense pressure in the deep ocean and the changes in temperature of water. For its inclusiveness, the AI will blend in together with marine life and will not act as a threat towards other marine life. It will also tell users the current location and its objective. The user has access to control the device manually if it is needed in case our prototype 429 got lost or it interferes with other water activities. For cybersecurity, our AI is secure from the start. The staff has to enter a password and fingerprint before checking the data. For data, we will only collect the data that we needed and it will be saved safely. Our system will always run updates automatically every month to keep track of the current oil spillage events and other information such as tides, wave, and ocean current. We will also constantly do questionnaire and upgrade based on the feedbacks to improve our system. We will always renew our device to prevent system from being invaded by viruses or being hacked. That's all from us, and we hope this AI proves to be useful in the future. Thank you!